My name is Rashidat Umar. I am the CEO Oyine Special Enterprise Limited. We're into fish farming and agro-processing, sales of healthy food items. We have been into business for the past 7 years. Formerly, 3 years ago, we've been doing processing of fish, rice, and packaging of healthy flours and edible swallow as well. I've always had issues with my online presence, because I usually feel before I can proceed to that, I need a lot of training on that. So I had this fear of not even wanting to launch out big time, because I feel I might be restricted with 1 or 2 things, the knowledge, the marketing skills and all. After joining the WEEAP program, a lot happened, because all the classes were very, very interesting and quite educative. So it was able to bring my dreams alive. The fact that I was scared of launching out big time, in the course of the program, all the presenters that came during the sections online, they talked about how we could conquer our fears, how we could launch and what we could do differently. And it really prepared me for the tasks ahead. So it helped me build my confidence to be able to do all that I had wished for over the years and I couldn't come up with it. Like in terms of the contracts, I used to think contracts are for those that are bigger, those that have money, those that have made it already. But joining the WEEAP program, I had the opportunity of exploring with my own capacity, as much as I didn't really have all the documentation at that point, because I realized there are so many things I needed. But I could still start small. I could still understand that there are some certain level of contracts I can get with my own level, and I explored it and it worked out. So it's like a dream come true for me after joining the WEEAP program. There are lots of missing informations that we had that we never knew were existing, but in the course of joining the WEEAP program, they made us understand that there was some certain documentations and places to go to get those documentation and the proper information. I didn't have those information. Those are part of the fears I had, because I felt it was for bigger people. But in the course of this program, I realized that there are some certain spaces that I can still fit in, and most of the documentations I need, I was able to explore them and I could get the few I can get with the help of those knowledge. Because knowledge is power. Not having that knowledge was making me live in the past. But having that knowledge in the course of the program made me realize that, oh, I know what is happening now, and I took advantage of that opportunity and I explored, and it paid off. Thanks to WEEAP program, if not, I wouldn't have understood what procurement really means and most of the documentations that are required. I was able to get a few, and I'm still working on getting the total package to be able to bid for federal government contracts and contracts that required lots of documentation. Most of the practical skill I explored and I tried myself, one of them is Google My Business. I had always heard of Google My Business. I thought it was something very cumbersome. But in one of the classes we had, it was broken down into details. Those that were even exploring the Google My Business, they were able to search through and see what they've been doing and see the progress. At that point, I was able to start up my own Google My Business, and I can tell you it has gone beyond what I thought it would be, because I was exposed to things Google My Business could do. That's one of my major highlights. Then my second major highlight is the idea of creating good content for online market visibility. That aspect has really brought my business out online, because in the past I used to feel, oh, these people online, are they really doing what is necessary? But in the course of the project, lots of people that have been doing it and it's paying off for them, they were there to testify, they were there to give us receipts, records that were showing that it's working, and I've been able to explore it, and I've been able to utilize it, which is paying off in my business today. In terms of my confidence in business as a female entrepreneur, after the program, I can tell you I became someone differently, because I was willing and ready to take up anything that has to do with business. You know, sometimes we think the men are the ones that do it all. They have the best skills, they have the money, they have everything. But after the program, I realized women too can do better. they can match up. It's just the way we take it. But the program has exposed me to understand that I could do it, and I have tried it and it has worked. You know, in this present world, the fact that we still say men have the more money, that we women don't have much money. So sometimes we just go to some places and they just size us and feel, no, you can't take this now, you don't have the capacity. So these are the things that have been scaring us. But with the present day women, we do more of collaboration than competition. So collaborating with other women has been able to help me personally. Because in the past, I would say, okay, I don't have money to fund this project, because most of these projects, you have to fund it before they pay. So the fact that I don't have the money, I will just let it go. Or sometimes I'll just tell a man, there's a project there's a procurement stuff that you could do and take advantage of it, because I feel I don't have the money and all. So financing is really our major challenge, and financing and capacity building, which the WEEAP program has been able to fill in that gap for us, because not having the knowledge is another thing. Not having the funding is another thing. But once you have the knowledge, you can prepare and collaborate with others and see how you can actualize that. The fact that you have the knowledge at that point, you know what to do. So I think funding, it's the major challenge. But I think we are trying to surpass that by collaborating with other women so that we can do it better. Majorly, it has always been the documentation for me. The documentation of all the needed certificates. You know, the certificates are scattered around. You have to go to PENCOM to get out of PENCOM. You have to go to NSITF. You have to go to ITF. You have to go to FIRS. You have to go to BPP. So I think what they could do differently for us is to have a particular hub, like the way they have incubation center where women can go and process their items with different machines there. If they could come up with like a hub where there should be like a one-stop shop for every of those offices to be there, that okay, the documentation will be easier. You meet this one tell you what you need, you need this one, tell you what you need. So it's easier rather than moving around, because by the time you go out there and get the other information, you get this one, you mix it up. You might be thinking, okay, it's NSITF that needs this one, but if they are able to come up with a space whereby we can get all these certificates, processing of the certificates in that same location, then I think it will actually boost most of the things we do. The documentation is really one big challenge for us. You know, I said I am a fish farmer and a food processor. I started selling rice 2 years back, and I realized sometimes I see people moving around in trucks carrying rice to different offices. I'm wondering, how did they get it and stuff like that? So in the course of the WEEAP project, they talked about procurement, how they do procurement, and most of those rice you see in some cooperatives, most of those rice they share during December, it's somebody that got that contract to supply them. So those things kept on coming to my head that, okay, if they supply chairs to some offices, they supply this, then since I'm in food sector, let me utilize it. I sell rice. I have suppliers that can supply me in large quantities. Why not explore this option? And immediately, I just prepared my profile, business profile, talk about how long I've been doing rice and where I source my rice from, and talk about the capacity I can carry and all. So what I had to do was, I had some friends that work in different parastatals. I spoke to them and like, okay, how do people come up with this? They said, you just write your profile and everything. So once the need arrives, they know where to go to. Because those that have been supplying them, they've been coming around, they just reach out to them. You can come up. I said, are you for real? I said, yes. So I prepared my profile and all. So I walked into most of the government schools that were budding. So I submitted my profile. I spoke to them that I'm a rice supplier. I can supply you rice in large quantity. We could talk. Initially, I was even like, would it really pay off? I thought procurement say they will have to do it online. You submit. That's to be bogus money and all. But in the course of the program, there was a particular lecture we had that told us that there are different capacity. And, you know, in terms of bid, there are some certain level that needs maybe like a bigger approval. There are some that the principal or the Bossa can approve at that level, like supplying 50 to 100 bags of rice. When they talked about all that, I was like, okay, at least this is my capacity. I don't need more documentation. They only need my CAC registration, my business account, knowing fully whether I run a business account, and my VAT certificate. And these are what I had. So I just put them into the profile and submitted. I submitted in 3 schools. I submitted in one of the command school in Abuja. I submitted in government secondary school Kwali. Then I submitted in a private school in Dupa Gwagwalada here. The 3 came on board, but one was very, very comfortable for me because their payment was within 24 hours. So, and the fact that we say funding is the problem, I didn't have much capital to keep my money for long. The government school, they said, is going to take 1 to 2 months. Then the other private school said, after every section, tends to pay and buy more and all. So I picked the one that was better. That was the command school, which they said for 6 months I'll supply them rice. Immediately they get their rice supply, they make payments. And I've done for 4 good months, supplied them this rice and they've paid. I'm preparing a set for them for next week to supply, and immediately I get my payment. So what I had to do this year again was to go around other schools too and submit. Then there's a cooperative that they share food items during Ramadan period. I've reached out to 2. I supplied them oil, vegetable oil. We are still talking about rice. They too, they are coming for rice. So these are my capacity and I'm trying to explore it. While I'm exploring this capacity, I'm still trying to grow, trying to get all proper documentation, and maybe by then I could get better funding to be able to, like this whole space, I took them. Ordinarily, I was supposed to use others for my warehouse where I can keep the rice and no, but you know, the rice industry is very, very expensive, so I really need much funding. So I'm trying to explore to my level, 50, 100, 200 bags for now. I hope to do thousands of bags. I hope to do them. And the other option I'm exploring in terms of procurement, you know, there are communities outside Nigeria now. Those Nigerians that left the country, they're outside Nigeria, so they tend to do bulk shipments through sea. So I've been able to reach out to 1 or 2 persons. So they usually have a group where they prepare and all send in their order. So they bring in their order in group. So I'm working on that in March, where I'll be able to get them their gari in tons, get them their palm oil, get them all Indomie, things they need in bulk, and I'll supply them and they'll make my payment. So these are what I'm exploring. I'm actually exploring all supplies to federal government parastatals, to private school, to individuals, to cooperatives too as well. I usually have a lot of fears before joining the program because I was just like, where I just felt, okay, come in and buy 1 or 2 person. I just limit myself to WhatsApp. But joining the program, they made me understand that I could do more, I could do better, even if I don't have much. Because, you know, I would think you need to have like millions, about 10 millions. I didn't start, when I was doing this, I could tell my business capacity was between 1 to 4 million. And I wasn't thinking I'll be able to do those supply, but I did it because there were people there in the WEEAP program that were telling us that we could do it. They pushed us, they were pushing us, and they were making us feel that it's possible. You know, sometimes we have dreams, but to actualize our dreams, we need a push. So WEEAP was that push I needed to just help me launch out and tell me myself that I could do supply. And that supply I've done, and I'm still going to do more. Presently, I've gotten 3 after the WEEAP program. When we entered 2024, I started doing my submissions of my profile, what I can do, what I can supply, and I've gotten 3 responses that I'm working on. I did 1 in January, I did 2 this February, then I'm working on the 3rd one. The one in January is a reputation because I have to do that one every month. The supply is every month. So that of February, I got 2 new additions plus the first one I had. Then I'm working on 1 new one again that I'm going to supply first week of March as well. So making a total of 4 different speeds. Basically, accessibility to most of these offices where we need to do the proper documentation is been a great challenge. I think if there's this certain level of after the WEEAP project, we have this leverage when we get to these offices and they're like, okay, we've been trained, we've been prepared for this. They give us this soft landing in the course of all the documentation, like trying to get the certificates. They make us feel comfortable. Even having access to those offices, sometimes you get there, they'll be like, what do you want? What do you want? They don't even give much importance because you're a woman, you've not done beats before. Like, there are so many restrictions. I think we should work on more, like where after the project, we should have this certain level, certain leverage that, okay, when we get to this office, they said, okay, you are from here, okay, we'll attend to you, these are the things you need. They give us this sense of belonging. For me, that's what I feel. Then for the federal government bits, it's been very difficult. That's why I had to just explore the little ones within my reach, pending the time I could draw, because sometimes they will tell you that you have to have evidence of past bid, but they'll tell you no matter how small it is, attach it. That's even why I'm doing all these ones. That, okay, pending the time I'm able to secure those ones, at least I have other evidence to attach that, okay, I've been doing these smaller ones, I've been doing this one, I've been doing that one. You know, most of these government bids, I've been able to explore them. I realized, okay, there's some certain level a woman and a young entrepreneur can fit in, but it's still the documentation at the end of the day that will now hold us down. Because if the amount, the capacity, you can take it, if you don't have the documentation, you are out of the race, because the men will come with all the documentation, all the requirements, and you don't have it. Why don't you have it? Because of some levels that you've not gotten to, that they are not giving you that opportunity. So I feel if we are being given a very good chances in terms of that documentation, if we have it, I think if it has to now do with the funding, as I said, by the time we collaborate with other women, we'll be able to actualize that. But first and foremost, let's get the documentation right. Let's have access to where to get this documentation without any hurdle, because we women, we usually have a whole lot of hurdle in trying to get all this. They will tell you this, they will tell you that, they will tell you, okay, let's see your financial statement, let your bank give you letter of introduction, whereas sometimes you've not really done big transactions with your bank. How would your bank be able to give you introduction letter and stuff like that? So most of what the requirements for this federal government bit are quite high. So, and if you are starting afresh, it might be difficult for you to be able to meet up the demands. So I think the documentation, the accessibility to all these federal government offices, we should have a leverage coming out from the WEEAP program organized by Do Take Action and Do Everywhere. Thank you. Whoever that have this opportunity I have should really utilize it, because if only I never utilize that opportunity, I won't be here today. So I think they should open their heart to learn and unlearn and relearn. That's all they need. Because some people think they've heard it before. It's still same thing. No, you've heard it before. The meaning you made to it then was different, but the meaning you are making to it in WEEAP program is different, because they are coming with their own style differently. They are coming with the way they give it out, it's different. So if you open your heart and believe that I don't know anything coming here, you'll be able to learn. So don't say I've heard it before, it's the regular. Don't act up that way, because it won't pay off. Because I was willing, I opened my heart. I've been to other capacity building. I've seen it. I've seen how they play it there. They've taught us lots of things, but this one was different because they pushed us to practicalize it. At some point, we were doing beats. At some point, I could remember I was sleeping by 2 a.m. because they will tell you there's a bid window that particular day. If you don't do it that day, the next day you have class, so you have to finish up. So at 2 a.m., there's something about financial analysis. Don't think you know it all about financial analysis. I learned it the hard way during WEEAP program. Yes, I did. Because when some people were running away from, because they feel, we have, what, this was class assignment, so you need to do your financial analysis. So how do you do it if you were not attentive during the course of the class? So take advantage of every class that comes, because it comes with a different information entirely that you think you have heard before. But seriously, hear this one, because it will make a difference in your life.